I already mentioned my favorite thing about my program are my classmates. I think anyone going to an MBA, especially abroad, go in just with an open mind because the people you meet are going to be your lifelong friends and they can totally change your life. I know that my friends have already changed my life. Just knowing them for 6 months, I feel like I've known them forever and I probably will be friends with them forever. I think going with an open mind, knowing that what you think is not going to be what other people think, your right way is not going to be someone else's right way. So just, go in, be ready to learn, be ready to experience new things, and I think it can only be amazing. My name is Samantha Roberts. I'm from the United States, specifically Los Angeles. I'm 28 years old and I have a background in finance, and now I'm studying at ESMT Berlin. I decided that it was the right time to get my MBA. It was kind of a perfect storm of things that happened in my life. Like I had a few, personal things happen that opened up my, what will my next step be in life. I will say I kind of lost passion for finance. I liked my job, but I wasn't really having the passion that I used to have. And I thought maybe I just needed a change. And to be honest, I really wanted to move abroad. Like that was the biggest thing. I wanted to start this new life abroad, and I thought studying at a university in Europe would increase my chances of being able to be employed in Europe as well and starting kind of the next chapter of my life. So all those things together, it was really clear that I wanted to come over here. I started with thinking about the things that were really important to me in an MBA program. One of them was a smaller class size. I went to a smaller university and I really valued those personal interactions with your professors, really getting to know people, really knowing your classmates, instead of just being one of 300-400 people. So that's where I really started my search, was programs that were smaller. And of course ESMT checked that list, which I really liked. I also was looking to move into the technology industry, and I was really interested in working in a tech startup, which also brought me to Berlin because there's lots of opportunities here. And I knew after reading some of ESMT's materials, I saw that they checked that box as well, kind of working with a lot of the tech startups over here in Berlin, and kind of getting us students in front of them as well. So that checked that box, yeah. Our ESMT's been interacting with a lot of the startups here. I will say, COVID got in the way of a lot of the interactions that we normally would be having. Of course, we had a lot of company visits set up where you would go to the company and be able to network and see what they do, in person. That's actually, that's honestly not happening right now, and no fault to anyone. But they've been definitely helping with a lot of virtual company visits, which at least we can still get in front of people and kind of experience what they do day to day. So that's been really, really helpful. Right now, we're actually working on a project where we take it from an idea to actually pitching to venture capitalists. So that's just starting now, which is really exciting, but that's going to get us some real hands-on experience to what we could be doing, after graduation. I was working in actually Phoenix, Arizona before I moved here. It's kind of a hard question because it was kind of a personal journey for me, wanting to just start this new life abroad. It wasn't that I wasn't getting something in the US. It was just, I've always kind of had wanderlust and wanting to travel, and I've traveled a lot and I like the way of life here a little bit better. And I started to look just for jobs traditionally, but it is hard to just apply from the US when I don't have any amazing specialization. I think I'm a great person, but it's hard to get a job abroad. And so for me, it was more, I wanted to live in Europe and experience this, something new. So coming here for an MBA was honestly a very easy decision, and I'm extremely happy with it. I know that prospective students are currently worried about, unemployment and job security and wondering if an MBA investment is even worth it. And I can say I definitely have the same concerns as myself sometimes. However, I do think our career services team has been really preparing us for what we are going to meet on the other side. They start really early, from right when we get into the program, and sometimes you think, okay, gosh, that's so far away, we don't need to know these things yet. However, I do really appreciate that. Things from technical things like, cover letter workshops, mock interviews, just preparing us for what we might meet. And also we also get paired up with a personal career coach who actually is a professional career coach, someone who, coaches CEOs and all these kinds of people. And we get sessions with them throughout the year that are, an hour and a half just to talk about us and our career goals. And they kind of help map out what we need to do and the steps we need to take to get there. I know that doesn't alleviate all the concerns, but I think if we have all the tools we need, it's up to us to use them and put them into practice. So they definitely aren't going to handhold you and say, this is what are you doing the things you need to do? They give you the tools and you need to go out there and, network and make things happen, which I like the hands-on, I'm about that, but you have to be ready to, you're not just going to have a job in your lap when you graduate, you have to go out and work for it. So, but I really like it. It's really helpful. The T in ESMT for technology is not something to be scared about. It's an overly technology program where you need to be well-versed in all these programs. Technology is woven in, and like I previously mentioned, the technology sector here in Berlin is huge. And most of us may go work for tech companies. However, there are, like I mentioned, specializations where you might get a little bit more hands-on with some programming, but it's really at your own pace, and a lot of these start at beginner's level, so there's nothing that anyone needs to be afraid of if they don't feel well-versed in technology. I think speaking German here in Germany is definitely a big concern for many people, and again, one that I have as well. You can ask 10 different people working here and you'll get 10 different answers, whether you need to know German or not. For me, it's from the research I've done, just looking at job postings and seeing what's out there. It's in reality, yes, there are a lot of jobs that you're going to need German for. However, it also depends what you want to do after graduation. For me, I know that I want to work at a tech startup, which are generally English-speaking companies. So I'm maybe less concerned than one of my classmates who wants to work at McKinsey and Consulting, who probably will need to know German. And if they don't know German, maybe that's not the right job for them. So I think you need to think about your goals and what types of companies you're looking to work for, because that might light the fire in terms of wanting to learn German. But in terms of just living in Berlin, it's definitely manageable just knowing English. I have very little German proficiency, so it's from experience that I'm saying that. Of course, everything's easier when you know German, but it's manageable to live here on English 100%. I am actually part of one of their, they have an inclusive leadership roundtable that's made up of faculty and students, that not just gender equality, but racial equality, just ensuring that our university is operating at the highest standards. On our own, there's actually people in our class started a women in business leadership club, and that's been a really great thing to be a part of, and seeing some of my women classmates promoting each other has been great. So I'd say overall the campus is extremely inclusive and diverse, but we're always striving to be better. Our class profile is amazing, honestly, and probably my favorite part about the program. There's 47 of us from I think about 24 different nationalities, so really diverse. And I think I've learned the most probably from my classmates, because it's not even just diversity in terms of nationalities, but diversity in age and our work experience, our personal lives. It's extremely diverse. And so we're working in these groups constantly in all our classes, even when we're online, and we're always mixing groups. And so you're always getting to work with someone new. Even if you know them, working with someone is a completely different experience. And being able to learn from these classmates has been honestly the amazing experience of my life. It's been incredible. I will say our program was very, very heavy at the beginning. Like the first 6 months was like the general classes that we all needed to take before we kind of broke out into different tracks. And it was a lot. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It really put a lot of us to the test mentally. We all just moved to Berlin in the winter, a lot of us coming from warm places. So it's winter and you're just getting hammered with classes and assignments. It was a lot, and you're in a new place. So I will say the accelerated MBA, 14 months is not a long time. You have to be prepared to be put to the test mentally, and I definitely was. I'm glad I made it through that first 6 months. But I will say that probably was the downside of a accelerated MBA. So managing the hectic schedule was tough. I think it's about, like everyone says, finding a routine. I think it was just a little bit more challenging being in a new city, a new country with no one around you. But really, I don't want to sound cheesy. I just really leaned on my classmates a lot. Like we were fast friends because I think we were all going through the exact same thing together. So it just creates this really nice bond. So there is some positive to it. But I really did lean on my classmates a lot, especially, there was classes where I was just, so lost because it wasn't really something I had ever dealt with before. But okay, someone's on my team who has worked in operations and I have no idea what's going on. They were offering to tutor me. Oh, I worked in finance. Okay, I can help you. So it was finding those people that you can lean on, and those are the ones that really help you get through it. Going through this MBA during COVID has really put a lot of things into perspective. It was pretty scary. I was here, only 2-3 months, and then COVID hits. I don't know what the future is going to be like. I never knew if I was going to be back in class. I didn't know if my program was going to be delayed. It was really scary. And again, thankfully having my other classmates to lean on, but I feel like it prepares me that I can honestly handle anything that comes my way. Like, I didn't think I would be traveling this summer, and yet I got to be able to travel to all these countries. I think it put a lot of things into perspective for me, and the problems seem so much smaller now, to be honest.